You may or may not have seen a recent video I posted about these awesome cichlids from Madagascar. I'll give you a too long didn't read. Basically, these fish are highly rare and highly endangered in the wild. So we were ecstatic when we were able to procure some tank-raised specimens in the hopes of raising and breeding them to help keep the species alive. And we're going to document this journey so that you can share it with us, because there's going to be a lot of stuff that we learn and there's going to be a lot of excitement along the way. But the first step in this journey is to get these fish into a tank more suitable for what they need. Right now they're in a 75-gallon, and that was mainly to quarantine them for a bit from the rest of the fish room to make sure they were healthy. But now it's time to graduate them up a notch. So we're going to take them out of this 75-gallon and we're going to move them over to this open 125-gallon. And this tank should be big enough for them for a while. We're going to move over all the substrate and the aquascape decor and the filter media. And we have some extra aquascape decor here, which we'll probably need because it's a bigger tank. But this 125 should work for some time. Now, if they outgrow this tank before their forever home is built, we have this 225-gallon that we can put them in. And right now it's home to some Malawian peacocks and haps, but this is not the forever home for these fish. These fish will either be sold or moved to a different tank. So we'll in the midterm, we'll have this 225 available if needed. But the long-term plan is to actually build them just a massive plywood aquarium. But for now, this 125 should be sufficient. So one of the best ways to move fish from tank to tank is to actually use the same water. So we're going to take a pump and take water from this tank and pump it over to the new tank. And that way, all we have to do is just net the fish out and just drop them in the new tank. And you don't have to worry about acclimating them. You don't have to float them first, which just adds a little extra work on you and a little extra stress on the fish. So you can do this with buckets and whatnot, but I recommend investing in a cheap pump. These kinds of pumps are like $40 tops. They're not great, but they get the job done for these sorts of one-off situations. So we're just going to pump the water, about probably 3/4 of this tank water into the 125. It'll leave enough water in here for the fish to still be comfortable, but not so much as to make it difficult to catch them. We'll take all the decor out, move it to the new tank, and we'll just net the fish out and drop them in the 125. While we move all the decor, we're taking extreme care to disturb the fish as little as possible. While the water gets pumped over, I'm going to start thinking about where I'm going to put some of the bigger aquascape pieces, or the hardscape, some of these bigger rocks that are pretty heavy. And I'm going to do it now because it's easier while there's not as much water in the new tank. Because what I like to do is, for these really big ones, this thing is heavy. And even though the glass can take it, glass is stronger than most people think. I still like, for extra safety measure, add some styrofoam underneath. And this will just help, prevent any load points, any stress points on the glass from like sand or small pebbles that get trapped underneath. And this is also pretty buoyant in water, so it even, alleviates some of the downward pressure. Some people accomplish the same goal with lighting diffuser or egg crate, and that all works too. I just happen to prefer styrofoam. And it's probably an unnecessary precaution, but with these fish, I'm taking every precaution I can. They are irreplaceable if something goes wrong. We have the fish in the new tank with the lights off over there to help calm them down. So now we're just gonna start scooping all this substrate and we're gonna put it in the new tank. Next thing we've done is brought over the exact same filtration. This is the same Tidal 110 hang-on back filter. This is the same sponge filter. All that was in the previous tank. So we know that it is properly cycled for the bioload that these fish put out. We've also brought over the exact same heater, which I'll mount here in a minute. Now I know from experience with this heater that it is strong enough to power this 125 even though it was previously on the 75. So we have everything moved over now. The fish are in here, we got the substrate, we have a rough aquascape. The water looks really dirty just because, you know, when you stir up the substrate and everything, that'll happen. But it's not, you know, harmful to the fish. So right now we're just filling the rest of the tank up with clean water, and we'll come back to this once it clears up a bit and see how it looks. I'm pretty happy with how it came out. The fish are all doing very well. They all made the transition just fine. And they seem to be enjoying the extra space a lot. So much more space for activities. But yeah, they're doing good. We have the pinstripe Damba, we have the calico Damba, and most importantly, we have the Dami. These are the ones that I'm very excited to grow up and breed someday. But that's all we have for today. I hope you enjoyed the update. I'm going to be doing periodic updates of these fish. These species are going to be a primary focus of the fish room for quite some time. I hope to learn a lot about them as we go and share it with you. But take it easy, guys. Stay tuned for more videos from the fish room.